Alright, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy OJ back here with another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about UFC fighters that need to get in the octagon right now because I don't know where any of these guys are. Alright, these guys haven't fought minimum within the last like 8 months or so, and it's kind of concerning because these guys are like what one or two fights away from a potential title shot, if not a title elimination bout. Yet for some reason, none of these guys want to fight. All right. I don't know why professional fighters don't want to fight, but I guess that happens a lot in the UFC. So I'm going to be covering one fighter from every single weight class, starting from flyweight all the way up to heavyweight. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. All right, we start off with the flyweight division. Amir Al Bumzi. Like, I know that he was supposed to fight Tatsuro Taira on August 6th on some random Apex card, but then he pulled out of that fight, and we don't know why. And it seems now that Amir Al Bumzi is not planning to fight anytime soon. All right, we got to keep in mind that his last fight was in November of 2024. It is now almost September of 2024, and somehow he's still ranked within the top five of the flyweight division. I don't know why Amir Albazi is still ranked in the top five of the flyweight division in 2025, but it just doesn't sit right because the only reason he's still in the top five is because he hasn't lost to anybody lower than him technically since what like what 2023. Like I count that loss to Kai Kara France like as a loss. All right, I don't know how he even got to the top five in the first place, and it's kind of a disgrace that Amir Albazi is still in the top five in 2025. And hopefully that changes. Maybe he actually wins and actually gets to keep his ranking. But either way, I want to see Amir Albazi fight. Mostly because I want to see him lose so he doesn't stay in the top five. But if he wins, I hey, props to him. And he gets to stay in the top five. But either way, he should be in the ring very soon. All right, now up next we got Song Yadong. Now I couldn't really find anyone in the bantamweight division because most of these guys were kind of booked already. But I'm gonna go with Song Yadong because he was supposed to fight Rob Font on the China card last weekend, and I don't know why that fight fell through, but it doesn't seem like Song Yadong is planning to fight anytime soon. I thought Song Yadong was gonna be a lot more active. Like, sure, he lost the fight to like Peter Yan, but that's Peter Yan, arguably like the second or third best fighter in the bantamweight division right now. And Song Yadong hasn't really taken any fights since. Like, I understand he fought Henry Cejudo in February, but like that kind of ended in a weird way, I'll say. And Song Yadong, I don't know if he's planning to fight anyone anytime soon. Like again, the UFC gave him Rob Font, but I still don't understand why that fight fell through. Like, did Song Yadong get injured? I'm not really sure because like he was still like training. I've seen his training clips, and they were like from very recently. So I don't understand why Song Yudong isn't fighting. But either way, I want to see Song Yudong fight soon. Right? Not for the Emir Albazi reasons, but actually because I think Song Yudong's a cool fighter, and I do think with the right matchups, he can be a potential title challenger very soon. All right, now moving on to the featherweight division, we got Arnold Allen. Yeah, I love Arnold Allen, but I cannot defend this man. This guy hasn't fought since July 27th of 2024. And it is now 14 months. All right? Or 13 months, all right? Close enough since Arnold Allen has last fought. And he fought the last time he fought, Giga Chikadze was ranked. Right? Giga Chikadze is no longer in the rankings, and that's been the case since like April, right? So I don't understand where Arnold Allen's at, right? He was supposed to fight Aljamain Sterling at one point. I remember Aljamain Sterling calling out a matchup with Arnold Allen, and I don't know why that fight didn't go through. Instead, the UFC decided to give Aljamain Sterling Ortega of all people. But I don't understand where Arnold Allen's at. Right? Like he literally can be up for a title shot next if he has like one or two more wins. But for some reason he's not really looking forward to fighting anybody anytime soon. So I'm very interested as to where Arnold Allen's at right now. And again, like, is he actually going to fight anybody? Because he's actually fun to watch, right? The problem is he just doesn't fight. So he's just never in the conversation for any sort of featherweight title shot. But when he does fight, he's actually like a legitimate like top 5 contender in the featherweight division. So I hope to see Arnold Allen fight very soon. All right, for the lightweight division, we got Arman Sarukian. Yeah, this guy's basically the inspiration to this video. Like, realistically, where is this guy at? Like, this guy hasn't fought since UFC 300, right? That was when Alex Pereira was just starting to become mainstream, right? That was when, like, people actually thought that Davidson Figueiredo can become a bantamweight title challenger. That was when people still actually rated Jamal Hill in terms of skill. Where is Arman Sarukian? I have no idea. And I understand he had that fight booked with Islam Makhachev, but he pulled out because, according to Dana White, he missed weight. Okay? And he has yet to confirm any sort of fight news. And the bare minimum we're gonna see Arman Sarukian, if he does choose to fight, is in December, because Dana White did not confirm any sort of Arman Sarukian fight during his announcements. So this means that Arman Sarukian, bare minimum, is going to be out for 20 months before he steps foot into the UFC Octagon again, and that is simply unacceptable. Somehow, Arman Sarukian is trying to be inactive for almost 2 years. All right, 2 years. And then somehow asked for a title shot. All right, people were rioting that JDM was getting a title shot off a year layoff. All right, 1 year and 2 months. All right, but that was a special situation because Shavkat Rakhmonov, the rightful challenger, had to pull out, and JDM decided to step in because it's a fresh matchup for Bilal Muhammad. But here is Arman Sarukian, nearly about to double the amount of time JDM has been off for, which is for a legitimate reason since he broke his arm in his last fight. Arman Sarukian has no interest in fighting in the UFC. Arman Sarukian is somehow demanding for a title shot despite not fighting for bare minimum like 16 months now, which, like, it could go on for another 20 to 24. All right, I don't see why people are rooting for Arman Sarukian to get a title shot. All right, he's not getting one. Dana White's made that abundantly clear. Arman Sarukian needs to fight one more fight, and he better get in the octagon. Otherwise, like, he'll be the next PFL prospect. All right, I don't care that Arman Sarukian is the #1 contender when literally he hasn't fought since UFC 300. This is when Charles Oliveira was still considered a relevant title challenger. Okay. So I don't want to hear anything for Arman Sarukian about, oh, Ilya Tapori is ducking me. Like, motherfucker, you haven't fought since like 2024 of April. All right. This is now August 30th of 2025. Get in the octagon or bound to the PFL you go. All right, now up next we got Shavkat Rakhmonov. Listen, I love Shavkat Rakhmonov, but this is simply unacceptable. He has not fought any fight since December 7th of 2024. And yes, he was supposed to fight Bilal Muhammad on the Canadian pay-per-view at May, but unfortunately he pulled out. And now there seems to be no news about Shavkat Rakhmonov whatsoever. All right. This is now going to be bare minimum 1 year since Shavkat Rakhmonov fought, and it wasn't like Shavkat Rakhmonov had all that active of a schedule to begin with. And as much as I do love Shavkat Rakhmonov, I feel like that's going to be the ultimate reason as to why Shavkat Rakhmonov will be held back from the title. And I wouldn't blame the UFC in that situation. Hopefully, Shavkat Rakhmonov gets back in the octagon. I want to see Shavkat Rakhmonov fight for the belt at some point. I don't care who Shavkat Rakhmonov has to fight right now. He can fight Sean Brady. He can fight Bilal Muhammad. I don't care. I just want to see Shavkat Rakhmonov fight very soon. Now, moving on to the middleweight division, we got Israel Adesanya. Now, I didn't really have anyone to really put because they've all fought pretty recently, minus Sean Strickland, but Sean Strickland suspended for like 6 months. So, bare minimum, we're gonna have to wait for him till December. And the only guy who hasn't fought recently is technically Israel Adesanya. All right, he hasn't been booked, and I kind of understand Adesanya's situation. He got knocked out by Nasruddin Imavov. He's kind of on a skid, and he's just trying to like focus his mind and trying to like bounce back so that like he can just like you know kind of salvage like his legacy. I don't know, like he's already done enough in the middleweight division, and I don't think him losing or winning at this point, unless he loses like his next 3 or 4 fights in a row, I don't think that's gonna really affect his legacy that much. But Israel Adesanya, uh, yeah, I think he should fight soon, probably by December, maybe like January. I do want to kind of see Israel Adesanya fight. Like maybe I'll be wrong about this. Like come fight week, I'll be like, oh, why the fuck did I miss this guy? He just like kicks at range for 5 rounds. But it feels weird that Israel Adesanya isn't in any talking point in the middleweight division because I've been in the UFC since like Israel Adesanya was like the main talking point of the middleweight division. So it's very weird to see now that Israel Adesanya isn't part of that title picture. So I want to see Israel Adesanya. I don't know, like give him someone like fucking I don't know, Brendan Allen. I think that's a very approachable matchup for Israel Adesanya. But either way, I'm gonna say that Israel Adesanya. I understand that he's not fighting now or anytime soon, but probably get back in there sometime early next year. Now moving on to the light heavyweight division, we got Volkan Oezdemir. Yeah, I didn't really know who to put for the light heavyweight division because all of them either recently fought or they're booked for like a future fight very soon. But Volkan Oezdemir is the one guy that kind of stands out because I don't think he's really booked for a fight anytime soon. I could be wrong about this, but it's been a while since Volkan Oezdemir's really fought. Right? He fought on the Macau card last year, which was like no late November, and there hasn't really been any fight news that I've heard about Volkan Oezdemir. So I'm interested to see who the UFC matches Volkan Oezdemir up next. But either way, he's been out for a while, so I think it's time for Volkan Oezdemir to get back in the ring. And I don't know, like Volkan Oezdemir, he's decently good, so I do want to see him. And he's kind of a fun gatekeeper, if you will. Like you actually have to be good in order to beat Volkan Oezdemir, and everyone who's beaten Volkan Oezdemir has proven to be like top 5 level. So I'm interested to see who the UFC matches him up next. All right, whether or not the next prospect in the light heavyweight division is a complete fraud or not. But either way, I want to see Volkan Oezdemir fight pretty soon because it's been a while since Volkan Oezdemir has fought. And last but not least, we get to the heavyweight division, Tai Tuivasa. How is this man still in the top 10 of the heavyweight division in 2025? I have no idea how that's even possible. But here is Tai Tuivasa in 2025, still in the top 10 of the heavyweight division. All right. He last fought on UFC 305 against Jairzinho Rosenstrike. Within this time period, Jairzinho Rosenstrike has been cut from the UFC, right? Somehow Jairzinho Rosenstrike gets cut from the UFC, but not Tai Tuivasa. I don't understand how that's even possible, but somehow Tai Tuivasa remains on the UFC roster as the most blobulous blob of the heavyweight division. All right, where is Tai Tuivasa at? Is he even going to fight? Is he even a real fighter at this point? Because every time I check his Twitter, he just keeps getting more rotund and fatter every single second. And I wouldn't be surprised if he develops his own gravitational pull and we all get sucked into the black hole that Tai Tuivasa creates just by his fucking fat and mass. But yeah, either way, Tai Tuivasa, get in the ring or just leave. I don't really care either way because it's clear you're not really training for most of these fights. All right, you're just kind of showing up there for a paycheck. You're not really like you train out of Planet Fitness. Right? I think that enough. That alone should tell you guys where Tai Tuivasa is at in his career. And I don't really believe in Tai Tuivasa. I don't think he's ever gonna get back to a belt anytime soon. And plus, the Maori like build kind of got fraud checked. Right? We got Justin Tafa and Junior Tafa looking like complete schmucks out there. And Tai Tuivasa was kind of like a predecessor to them. So I don't really think Tai Tuivasa is all that amazing. Right? Either Tai Tuivasa get in the ring sometime bare minimum early 2026, or just get out of here because yeah, at this point it's clear that you're not really gonna be fighting anybody. All right, that's gonna be for it for today's video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please make sure to like and subscribe so I can get this channel monetized. But other than that, though, again, leave a comment down below if you agree with my list, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.